Good morning, and welcome to Daylight with Dean number 159 on September 20th, 2020. I practiced that one a few times and also resolved that I was not going to worry about the sound while I was trying to declare daylight's number. So, and also resolved that I was not going to worry about the sound. We got no static this morning. I love that. Now, for whatever reason, intermittently, every once in a while, I hear a burst of static on daylight, but I have no idea why or what that is. So I'm so glad that you are here this morning with me. We're about to enjoy our first sip of coffee, to get my first sip of coffee. If you want to join with me, you're welcome to. But I'm on about 7 minutes later than daylight today, than sunrise is in New Kensington. And it's a little bit of a sad morning for me. 3 days ago, I used my favorite Snowman blue coffee mug and took it in the car with me to the gym, and then brought it in from the gym and set it in the sink. And I set it on an unlevel surface in the sink, and it fell and hit the corner or the rounded lip of the drain, and I have a significant chip in the mug. So fortunately, it looks as though it's right where my tongue goes, so I'll always have every sip centered. So it's bittersweet this morning. Not my coffee, my first sip. Let's enjoy our first sip together. It's actually not bad on the lips. So if, I don't know if you can see that chip there or not, but if it can refrain from spreading any further on in the dishwasher, I should be okay. I love my microphone cord. And I'm even using the clip to hold it on the back of my collar, but sometimes it still gets taut and like makes my head go this way. I am so grateful to be here with you this morning, and it is Sunday morning. I haven't had many dreams about my father since he passed 17 years ago. I dream a lot. I just haven't had many dreams about my dad. And Saturday and Sunday, I've not set an alarm because I wanted to see how my body just kind of did naturally waking up. And yesterday, it woke up at 6:37 for the 7:04 daylight. Today, it woke up at I think it was 6:47. And I was dreaming, and my dad was there, and it was just he and I outside a house. And I said, "Dad, I'm glad you're back. Do you know what I really missed while you were gone?" And then I woke up, and I was like, I know what I was going to tell him, but I was like, good grief, why wake up then? Like, finish your sentence. And what I was going to say was, you know what I really miss while you were gone was being in church with you on Sunday morning. And, you know, we were a family that went to church together. And being in church with my dad was always fun. In later years specifically, because I'd like to see how long it took until he was dozing off. My dad loved to sleep during church, and he could prop his elbow at just the right place and hold his head, and every once in a while you'd get one of those things, and those were the best as well. But just having such a vivid dream this morning with my dad, like just a few minutes ago. Uh, it was like, wow, that really happened. I mean, it's been years since I've had a dream with my dad in it, and I think about my dad. I think about him often, but I don't dream about him very much. And so that was sweet. It was really sweet. Um, yeah. I when I woke up, I decided, since I woke up right to that dream, I decided I wanted to not get out of bed just yet and kind of let things linger a little bit. So if you're wondering why I was on at 7:11 instead of 7:04, that would probably explain some of it. So, mm. My dad and I used to go to the Lamplighter restaurant quite a bit. Just hometown, family owned eating establishment that was, oh, less than a mile from where you pull out on the main highway from our house. And we would go, and every morning there was a man in the far back booth all by himself, and he was eating. He was younger. I mean, younger. He was younger than my dad, and good-looking man would just sit there all the time and never really asked anybody about him. But I just he was always there, and I was in my early 20s. I was like 20, 23 probably, and one morning we went and he wasn't there. And I don't know if it was that morning or a later morning. I asked, what happened? He was a pilot, and he passed away. And it was so jarring to me, like, that guy passed away. And the Lamplighter restaurant for me has been one of those things that through the decades has not changed. Sure, they've redecorated, and we eat in the coffee shop, and they've recently renovated it, and layout's still the same, but the waitress that has been there the longest. She started in high school in the early 70s. She's still there. It'll be 50 years in a year, I think. And it's just always there. It's always the same. You can always count on it. The three brothers that owned it, two of them have passed away, and then Daniel, the youngest of the brothers, had run it for quite some time, and then his son Andrew became kind of the manager there, and he runs it now. And Daniel's still around, but it looks like it's insured for a number of decades to come. And I got to tell you, it's very unique on that stretch on Route 22. I know I've mentioned this before, but the Lamplighter restaurant has been there my whole life. Gina Boots Candy Store has been there my whole life. Wagon Wheel Restaurant has been there my whole life. And the Donut Chef brick oven donut store has been there my entire life. And you can still go to all four of those places, and it feels just like it did 40 years ago. And sometimes you just want to be reminded of something from back then. Something when life was simpler, when you weren't in charge, when you were taken care of, when, all of that. So, little nostalgic this morning I am. Some of you were quite excited that I had a Saturday that was wide open, where I had no plans, no agenda. And I yielded that to my wife, and we went to Bobby's Jewelers as promised in Vandegrift, and Leslie's rings needed some significant attention, and her wedding rings, and so we took them, and her grandmother's wedding ring as well, and Bobby is just delightful. She's gonna clean them up and get them fitting just perfectly and make them just what is there that looks brand new, they're going to make look brand new again. And I have not been wearing my wedding ring because working out at the gym, grabbing the dumbbells and kettlebells, I've gotten a callus just on this finger right where my wedding ring is. And so she asked about my ring, and I told her, and she said, well, why don't you grab one of these? And she emptied a bag of silicone wedding bands, wide ones and thin ones, and said, why don't you grab one of those that'll fit you? And so Leslie found one, I found one, so now I can wear this while I work out, and it won't dig the metal into my finger. So that was a nice surprise. And then we went to Ioni's in Vandegrift for lunch, and it was delightful. They made Leslie's Italian hoagie out of a small pizza shell and folded it in half, so it was like different than an Italian hoagie that we'd had before, but it was so good. And then I ordered a pepperoni and mushroom pizza, medium, and when it came out, it was pepperoni and sausage, which wasn't bad because I was debating on whether pepperoni and sausage, to the point where I wasn't certain if I told the lady pepperoni and sausage, but I distinctly remember saying pepperoni and mushroom. And she said, oh, I thought you said pepperoni and sausage. And I looked at Leslie, and she said, no, you said pepperoni and mushroom. She's like, oh, I'm so sorry, we'll make you a new one. Well, the pepperoni and sausage one looked so good. We're like, well, no, we don't need to get rid of this one. Could you just get us some mushrooms that we can put on it? She goes, and they use fresh mushrooms. And she said, well, how about if we saute you some mushrooms and bring them out? It'll just take a few minutes. Okay. So they sauteed us this whole bowl of fresh mushrooms. And so every piece of pepperoni and sausage pizza, I was able to cover in mushrooms the way I think all pizzas should be. I love mushrooms. And when I get extra mushrooms and they still only have 3 mushrooms a piece, I'm like, this is frustrating. So we enjoyed our pepperoni and sausage pizza so much with sauteed mushrooms on the side that we put on, that we're actually thinking about ordering it that way if we go there in the future, because it was so good. So then Leslie had informed me that we were going to go to Walmart to get some things she needed for a classroom, that we were going to go to Sam's Club for a couple things she needed, and then we were going to go to TJ Maxx because my son's 21st birthday is coming up, and we wanted to get some gifts for him. So we have been on the lookout for all of that. And so, used to be Sam's Club on Saturday or Walmart on Saturday was my least favorite place in the world to go. But something has shifted. I can't figure out how or what or why, but I'm finding that it doesn't matter. And so we went to Walmart and it was packed. You couldn't walk down one aisle because the cart was coming up the other aisle in the supply area, and it was packed, and it just didn't matter. We found just about everything my wife needed, and it was delightful. And then we walked out and we were going to drive over to Sam's Club because in our area they're right next to each other, but we'd parked in such a way that it was just easier to walk to Sam's Club, because if we'd gotten in our car and driven over to Sam's Club and looked for a spot and got out, it would have been much more of a hassle than just walking to Sam's Club. So we walked over to Sam's Club, and just again, delightful time in Sam's Club, and that all went very well. And then my daughter decided she wanted to go with us to TJ Maxx. So we drove home and unloaded our stuff and put the refrigerated stuff in the fridge and got some coffee, got some caffeinated sparkling water, and I was beat. But we were headed to TJ Maxx. So we went to TJ Maxx, and I forgot to tell you, on the way to Vandegrift, we stopped at the dollar store. I don't remember what it's called. I think it's the Dollar Tree, where everything truly is a dollar. And I love the way they have books there, and they're books that they buy in bulk and interesting. Well, this book that I found is David Grann, The White Darkness, and it's about a guy who retraces the Antarctica explorations of Shackleton, the British, of Ernest Shackleton, retraced his journey and went out across the Antarctica with a team, and then at 58, he decided to set out on the Antarctica, across the Antarctica, to walk across Antarctica on his own without a team of people. And the great thing about this book is it has pictures in it. I don't know if you can see that it has pictures, but any book for someone who's dyslexic like I am, any book that has pictures is a great book. So, fun picking that up for $1. It's nice and short. Look forward to reading that. And so we went to Dollar Tree, and then Bobby's Jeweler, and then Ione's Restaurant, and then Walmart, and then Sam's Club. So when we got home at 3 o'clock, I was done. But I was informed we were headed down to TJ Maxx, and Leslie was very wise, because throughout the day she kept sprinkling verbal affirmation across my path. Oh, thank you so much for going with me, Dean. It means so much to me. I'm really enjoying my time with you. And I knew what she was doing, but it still felt good. It still encouraged me. It still made me feel loved. And she's in the kitchen amused and laughing now, and because she knows it's true as well. Hey, baby.
Thank you for going with me.
Did you catch that verbal affirmation?
Good morning.
I don't know if you can see her on that side. You got to come on this side.
Okay.
Morning.
Good morning. Second cup.
So I was telling them yesterday about some of your fun stories.
I heard about your rings. So
yes, it's our
ring.
rings. There's our rings. Woohoo!
A lot cheaper.
Told them about that you had many teacher stories about great sayings that your children had over the years.
Yeah.
And I thought it would be nice on some Sunday morning to have you on because it's later. It's not during the week, and just have you share some of those. So just want to let you know.
I'll gather those together.
Nice. Nice. Do you sleep well?
I love the toasty coldness now. Fall brings.
All right. So what do you have going on today?
This.
This?
Right now.
You putting any toast in? Would you like to?
Bye.
I'm sure she will pop back in if I say something that she wants to comment on or add to. So I was dragging, and we got out the door. I had my coffee, had my caffeinated sparkling water, drove down to Fox Chapel, TJ Maxx. Went in, and for me, my TJ Maxx experience begins and ends with the clearance sections. Well, for whatever reason, I'm sure it's related to COVID, they've decided not to have their clearance sections. So the far right-hand back corner, two whole shelves used to be clearance items, just random stuff. It's now bedding. The men's clothing, there was not a clearance designated area in any of the places at all, on any of the racks. And that was a little bit of a bummer. Back in the food item area, found a couple interesting things. Organic figs, tender and juicy, dried Smyrna figs. Now, when I lived in Mississippi, I had a fig tree in my backyard, and there is nothing quite like a fresh fig picked off a tree. Phenomenal. These ones were pretty cool. They were dried, but they were still intact and weren't candied, and that was really good. So then I was in the checkout line, and I could tell I was like at the end. And I will be nice. I'm still going to tell the story. She's wanting to edit my content now, but so I'm in the line, and it's a long line, and we're socially distanced, so it looks even longer than it really is. And so I struck up a conversation with the lady behind me. She was buying 6 towels, and I told her that TJ Maxx is a great place for towels. And we engaged in conversation, and I informed her that the towels I bought there 9 years ago, I'm still using. And she's like, "Oh my, those last quite a while." And I said, "Well, when you only shower twice a week, you can get a lot more length out of them." I said, "Well, I just don't shower that often." And she laughed out loud. It was funny. And so then the thing that I'm so grateful for is my favorite. I got to show it to you. My favorite coffee that I get from TJ Maxx when I'm there. I looked in the other 2 places they had coffee, and of course, didn't have any. So they often have coffee in the checkout line, and I have my favorite coffee that I get from Sam's Club, Dunkin' Donuts, but my favorite coffee that I get from TJ Maxx, Marshall's, Home Goods, any of those stores that are related, I've bought them at all 3 places, is the Red Bag Wake Up Joe coffee. Love this coffee. And they always have the K-Cups, but I don't use K-Cups. So they seldomly have, and it's good until August of 21. So I got quite some time. Well, they had 7 bags of it. And I don't have a shopping cart. And this lady behind me, she's watching me dig through and get all 7 bags. And I explained, favorite coffee, they don't have this that often. And when they do, usually 1 or 2 bags at a time. I said, my wife's not going to be real thrilled that I'm buying all 7 of them, but I am buying all 7 of them. So that was a big win. But I could tell I was still on the edge. I was still irritable. I was still like, I got to get out of here. And one of the things that I noticed in our shopping yesterday is that they at Sam's Club and Walmart, they have third party businesses trying to sell you things while you're there. So for years, when you go into Sam's Club, a third party vendor tries to sell you a cell phone plan, this or that. Well, this for whatever reason is angering me. I know it shouldn't. I know I should expect it. But when I go into a retail store, I want to shop on my terms, and I don't want to be assaulted with someone trying to sell me something. Now, I know if I'm walking through a mall, the center kiosks, people are there trying to sell me stuff, but I don't want that experience at Sam's Club or Walmart. So it happened at Sam's Club, just raise my hand like not interested, and go to Walmart, and there's a third party vendor trying to sell Comcast subscription, and I'm like, I'm just annoyed. So in the checkout line, in waiting, I'm the next customer at TJ Maxx, and each cashier has to do their best to sell a TJ Maxx Rewards credit card. I mean, it's part of their job. They have to do it, and they have to push you. And sometimes they keep pushing you. One time, this lady's like, "Do you? Can I interest you in one?" I said, "No, thank you." And she goes, "Well, you really need one." And I said, "I have one." And she goes, "Well, why aren't you using it?" And I looked at her. I said, "That's none of your business," because it feels very intrusive to me a little bit. So I really have to watch myself. So I was standing there, and the next cashier, when I was waiting to get to a cashier, she was talking to a girl, tried to sell her a TJ Maxx Rewards card, tried to sign her up for it, and she said no, she wasn't going to use it. And she said, "Well, why not?" And she said, "I just don't want to use it." And she goes, "Well, every time you shop at TJ Maxx, you're missing out." And I looked at her, I said, "Did you really just say that to her?" I'm like, she goes, "Well, yes, I did. She's missing out on the savings." And I'm like, I said, "That's unbelievable. I can't believe you just said that to her." And then I realized I'd crossed the line. I'd been in TJ Maxx way too long, and I needed to get out of the shopping zone. So I just closed my mouth, because I thought, well, if a manager heard her saying, "Every time you shop at TJ Maxx, you're missing out," I don't think that's the message they want to send. Now, I know they were saying, you're missing out on the 5%, you're missing out on the rewards, you're missing out on this, you're missing out on that, all that you're missing out on. You know what you're also missing out on? Debt. So I just closed my mouth, went to the cashier, got my stuff, got outside, because Leslie and Abby were still shopping, and and I got outside. As soon as I got outside, I was headed over to a bench to sit down to enjoy a pack of my figs, and my phone rang, and it was Leslie. She goes, "Come back in, I want to show you this and this and this." And I'm like, "You know what, Leslie? I'm a little dangerous right now. I don't know what I might say to somebody, so I just need a break. I'm going to be outside in the cool of the shade, sitting on this park bench here, just catching my breath." And she's like, "Okay." So that was my shopping adventure yesterday with Leslie, and it was delightful. I loved it, and almost crashed and burned at the end. So I hope that you had a good day. Sorry for guys that are on here that hate shopping. Sorry to make it feel like you were shopping with me the entire time, but that's how the day played out. So just know that if I have another Saturday that is wide open, and confess that to you on Daylight, what that means is I will be doing whatever Leslie wants me to do. And that's how the day planned out. And it was delightful. Loved being with her, all until the last 5 minutes of TJ Maxx. So, guys, I hope that you have a great Sunday today. I am wearing my Ben Roethlisberger jersey because the Steelers are playing the Denver Broncos today at 1 o'clock at Heinz Field. Cannot wait to catch some of that game. And then I have a wedding in the backyard of a friend in Tarentum at 3. And so I'll be able to watch most of the first half and then head over. I'm not wearing my Steeler jersey for the wedding, and look forward to a great day as a Steeler fan, and look forward to a great morning with you tomorrow, and hope that you have a great day. As always on Sunday morning, I want to remind you that the River New Ken is on Facebook Live at 8 a.m., just 16 minutes from now. It's also on YouTube at the River New Ken YouTube channel at 8 a.m. We also we premiere them at 8, and then we show them again at 9:30, and then they're on there after that. And so hope that you will have a chance to enjoy those. And our live service is going to be this morning at 10 a.m. Dress warmly if you're up for it. Would love to see you, and we're going to be back in our building, as mentioned before, on Sunday, October 18th. I believe the day is 18th or 19th, that Sunday, whichever one it is. So let me pray for you. God, I thank you so much for today. Thank you for the opportunity to share today with each person here, to invite you to do my day with me and yield this day to you. Father, I thank you for your love, your faithfulness, your attention, your care. I thank you for this morning. I thank you for the sweet reminder of my Father and just the close friendship we had. And thank you that my life has been richly blessed through him in ways that I cannot even describe. Father, I thank you for this time to pause and reflect and refocus. And it's with great anticipation that I look forward to all that you have ahead for me today, for us today. Thank you for your love and for your goodness and for your faithfulness. We love you, God. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Sweet. Thank you, guys. Thanks for being on here with me this morning, and we will see you bright and early between 5:50 and 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, Monday morning. So we'll see you then. Thanks, guys.